Everybody, welcome. I've got an interesting upgrade to the hard surface toolbox. So if I just take up an orthographic view, I'll Shift D this cube, go ahead and scale it in just a touch, and with the bool tool enabled, you can hit Control minus, and that is in the edit preferences, add-ons, type in BOOL, check that on, and then this operation will work. So if I select the cutter, just click on the cutter, not the object, but the cutter, I can go ahead and go to shading, and I'll just shade it smooth. And it looks a little wonky right now, but that's okay. So I'll click cutter, and what it's going to do is it's going to combine the solidify with the boolean. And now I've got a slider that's going to adjust the thickness. So I'll select even thickness, so it looks good. And then you can adjust this completely out of the picture. And let me just shade smooth this as well so it looks better, or you can kind of bring it back in however you wish. I think something like that looks pretty good. Now from here you can actually, let's scale this to about right here, and I'll move the cutter in, and then I'll click cutter again, and now I'm going to fill that spot. And so you can do this again. And the fun thing is you can kind of move these two cuts around however you wish. Okay, so you can move those like that. Now from here, in order to do what I want, I'm going to need to come down, and I'll go to face select for this, and I can hit fractal, and I'll hit fractal probably 2 times. I think that would be good. Actually, let's just subdivide it couple of times as well, and kind of play with the slider and bring it back, and that's why the adjustments are there. So now you've actually got cut damage built into the boolean. So now you've got a fractal boolean with a solidify and a secondary solidify all built in, and you can make some pretty cool stuff. So it grabs the cutter and then apply all the modifiers, grab the mesh, apply all the modifiers, and then go ahead and delete that out. Now if you wanted to, you could go into edit mode and press L over these, and then P and separate by selection, then go back to object mode, and you've got this little damage piece right here you could take out all on your own. And you can actually do the same thing with the centerpiece, and you can separate that by selection as well. And if I hide that, and then you've got this secondary damage layer, which you potentially could just delete. Hit Alt H to bring that back, give you a much bigger gap in the damage. Now there's also another cool way to use this, and I'll drop into the cube, Shift D, scale it down. And the cube, just in case you don't know, that's my cutter, and this is what I'm cutting. So I'll click and highlight this, and then shift right click so they're both selected, and then this is my active object. So in other words, the first one you select is going to be your cutter, the last one you select is going to be the cuttee. So Control minus on that. I'll go ahead and grab the cutter, and now we can do something a little bit different with the cutter. I'll go ahead and shade it smooth. I'll grab this and shade it smooth. I'll 45 that. And from here, actually I'm going to Control Z back. I'll apply the scale and then 45. There we go. So that works a little bit better. And now I can hit G, X, and X and kind of bring that out, G and Z. And now this is going to give me the option to kind of create a little custom piece here. So if I want, I can go ahead and apply those modifiers for the base. Apply new modifiers here, and then I can delete that. Now if I want this on all 4 corners, it's super easy. I'll just grab this as part of the mesh now. So I'm already on the y-axis, so I need to go ahead and do this on the x first. And so if I tool it there, we're good. And now if I go to the y-axis, go to the y-axis and negative, I'll be tooling it there. And it looks like I messed myself up. Back to the x. There we go. And now I can go hit Z, and it should be negative, nope, it's positive, and tool it. Boom. And so now you've got all these on all 4 corners. And if you want, then you could say take up top view, pull up the carver tool, and you could draw in whatever you want. Hit spacebar a couple times, pull up the circle, which I like, and cut in something like that. And it started to look kind of cool. And then I can just shade auto smooth again, and that'll clean up the shading there. But if you don't like that kind of setup, what you can do is you can pull up the carver tool again, and let's see, I'll go to circle, I'll bring it up to say 90, and I'll turn the apply operation off by hitting Q. And now if I draw in a circle, and I'll hold down Alt to kind of move that, now I have the mesh available. And now I can actually work with this mesh, and I can fill it with a cutter as well, which is pretty cool. And clicking even thickness kind of ensures that you don't screw anything up. And so let's see, I can kind of do that, kind of do this, do whatever you want with it. Now I'll go ahead and apply all that, grab this one, let's shade it smooth. I don't want to bevel that. Do I want to bevel that? Let's see, how does this look with a preset? Now I'll bevel it after the fact. I'll apply the modifiers and then delete the cutter. Now grab this, shade smooth, we'll clean all that up. Then I've got these fun symmetry lines. Go ahead and dissolve those edges out. I'll grab these and dissolve these out. And it looks like it wants to grab a few of them at one time. And dissolve that. Sometimes there's some manual work. It's all worth it in the end, though. And dissolve all that. And that's a boolean, so it's effectively going to need those 2 lines. And the way it comes out, it's very, very nice and very straight. So what I can do now is I can hit Shift Alt and right click, and I can bevel this in if I want. And I can even grab, should be able to grab this edge as well, and just offer a nice little bevel right there. Looks like we might have an issue. I got to go to vertex select. Yeah, so I got a little bit of an issue here. I think we can get away with a new line, so I'll hit K. I'll hit A, and that should give me a perfectly straight line according to the mesh. Left click, place it, come back, edge select, dissolve that edge. Alright, so with that cleaned up, I'll just actually go into vertex select, and I'm going to do shortest path, so I'll just hold Control, and then right click around here until I get what I want. And then I'll just select that edge, and then I'll be able to select all these as well. And then Control B, offer up a nice bevel. Alright, that looks pretty good. And if you want, you could tool that to the bottom. It's already ready to go. And now you can tool everything and it's all the same. So that's the way that works. Pretty cool. You can modify your cutters and solidify them, which in essence gives you a very controllable slice, which is pretty neat. Anyhow, appreciate you guys watching. You can pick up the Hard Surface Toolbox on my Gumroad or on Blender Market, wherever you wish. And I'll see you guys in the next tutorial lesson.